Hi, Melissa Mantak, triathlon coach, empowered athlete. This is my video blog for this week. This week, we're talking about end of race season success. How do you stay mentally strong for the last seasons of the race? And physically strong, stay healthy. These are important details to go over to help you end the season strong. So we're getting to the end of the season here. You might have one or two races, it might be a championship race, it might be a couple of championship races, or maybe it's just a fun event. But you want to make sure you keep up with your strategic planning, even reviewing some of your plans now so you finish the season on a really high note. It really makes a big difference for all of us if we finish the season on a high note. So I've got a concise guide to help you stay strong, fast, and mentally tough all the way to the end. All right, number one, reflect and adapt. Take a moment and review your season's training and racing. Identify areas where you've excelled and areas where you need some more improvement. Adjust your training plan accordingly to address your weaknesses and build on your strengths. Always keep your weapon strong, but pay attention to your weaknesses too. You're only as strong as your weakest link, right? Fine-tune your nutrition. Nutrition is always critical for us, whether it's just our day-to-day lives or our training and racing lives. You want to refine your nutrition plan for optimal performance. It really makes a big difference, right? Focus on well-balanced meals, hydration, and race day fueling strategies. Review what's been working and what's not working. There's a lot of options and ideas out there. You can experiment with different nutrition options during training to find out what works best for you, because you know that experimenting on race day is not a good idea, right? You guys know that. Prioritize your recovery. I can't emphasize this one more than anything. This is probably the biggest one here because we start to get really tired towards the end of the season. So recovery needs to be a priority for you. Sufficient sleep, proper nutrition, and active recovery techniques, whether it's an Epsom salts bath or you've got compression boots. They all help with muscle repair and mental rejuvenation too. So if you're mentally feeling fatigued, that's an important thing to pay attention to. So even if this means making some major adjustments in your training plan to prioritize recovery, do it. And I learned this in my first season of racing where I raced into November. It was the first season that I was racing all the way into November, which led into, year-round racing for years to come. But I was really burned out and I just didn't want to train. I felt really lazy because I wasn't doing my training. But it ended up turning out really well because I ended up feeling more fresh, more recovered, and I had put so many miles in the bank in the early season that I was able to take advantage of that for the late season. So I ended the season really well and it worked out well. So pay attention to how you're feeling mentally and physically. Pay attention to your key workouts too. Those are always important. Integrate key workouts that simulate race scenarios. Plenty of brick sessions, plenty of transition training. And even if these are the only workouts that you do at the end of the season, focus on what's going to be the most relevant to the races coming up. Practice predicted race day conditions as much as possible, whether it's hills, winds, hot weather, cold weather. And remember, anything can happen. They can cancel the swim, be ready for a duathlon. We need to be flexible these days, especially with crazy weather that's going on around the world. And do take advantage of your opportunity to swim in the open water. Can't emphasize that enough. The more open water training you do, the more comfortable you're going to be and the more successful you're going to be on race day. And also training at your goal race pace and efforts. It's really important to teach your body what you're asking it to do. So train the way you want to race. And then tapering. Effective tapering is always very helpful. It helps you peak your performance. In general, just gradually reducing training volume, but maintaining frequency and some intensity. And during the taper phase, we want to make sure we increase the recovery intervals if you're doing some interval work. So if you're used to doing 5-minute intervals with 2 minutes recovery, maybe 5-minute intervals with 5 minutes recovery. Just ensures full and proper recovery, and so that you're really primed to go on race day. You don't want to go to race day feeling a little bit burned out or a little tired or a little bit sick. That's not going to help you have your best race. In general, the longer the race, the longer the taper. So for a full Ironman, it could be up to 3 or 4 weeks of tapering. It depends on the person, depends on your fitness. And for a sprint, it could be just a few days to a week. Again, depends on your fitness and depends on the person, depends on your body type. There's a lot of fine tuning that can come into a good taper. And then, of course, managing intensity. I touched on that a little bit. You want to have balance in your intensity levels in your workouts, working that spectrum of intensities from easy to hard, but pushing yourself without risking burnout or injury. Injury prevention is always key, always key. You're better off going into a race slightly undertrained, slightly underprepared, but fully recovered and 100% healthy, believe me. Race strategy. How's your race strategy coming? Have you developed it? Have you gone over it? Have you practiced it in training, gone over it mentally and physically? And tailor it to your strengths. Tailor it to your strengths, absolutely. Plan your pacing, plan your nutrition. Don't just go by on feel, plan your nutrition. Get organized around your transition, your training, your racing, all of your gear. Make sure you're prepared and you're not running out of goggles at the last minute because they break or they get stolen or something happens there. Always be prepared. And always analyzing your previous races for insights can be very helpful, right? It helps you do better to make improvements and again, finish the season on a high note. And mental preparation. What are you doing for mental preparation? It doesn't have to be a lot, doesn't have to be complicated, but this muscle here works like these muscles here. The more you work it, the more you train it, the more it works for you. Remember, your brain is an asset that can work strongly for you or strongly against you. Put your brain in your corner. Visualize successful outcomes, practice positive self-talk, and use mindfulness techniques to manage race day nerves. Visualize your process to achieve all of these goals. Visualize that process. So focus on process goals. Focus on the swim. I'm focusing on strong pulls. On the bike, staying in the arrow position. On the run, quick feet. And by focusing on these process goals, it takes care of your bigger outcome goals. Embrace your challenges and maintain a positive attitude because challenges are always an opportunity for growth. Embrace them and grow with them. Approach each workout and race with enthusiasm, even if it's faked. Even if you have to fake it sometimes, fake it till you make it. That actually works because we can trick our brains and trick our emotions into believing that we're okay. And we really are okay most of the time. Mental strength can be a game changer in the late season races when fatigue starts to set in. Even if that's knowing that, okay, I'm missing a lot of workouts, I may feel really guilty, but I'm just going to do my best and I'm going to trust the process here because it can turn out extremely well for you. Knowing your limits. Sadly, we all have limits as human bodies. We have limits. We need to push those limits. We need to explore those limits, absolutely. But you don't want to train too much. You don't want to take on too much too soon. Your goals may need to take a couple of years. They could take a couple of weeks. They could take a couple of years. We just don't know. So be open, be curious, balance the intensity and balance out your intensity. And avoid injury. We just want to avoid injury. Listen to excess discomfort and adjust your training and rest as needed. Equipment check, really important to check your equipment. Make sure your gear is in top condition. Inspect your bike, inspect your wetsuit and other accessories so you don't have any surprises on race day. And one kind of small thing that people often overlook is clean your bike. Your bike race, it works better for you when it's clean. So make sure it's clean the chain. If you need to go take it to the shop to get it cleaned off, do that. But a clean chain actually gives you more power on the bike. Check your support system. Do you have a support system? Hopefully you have a good support system. Surround yourself with supportive, positive network of friends and family, whether they're in the triathlon community or not. But you need people around you who are supporting your goals to help you achieve what you want to achieve. They understand what you want. Training partners, friends, and family can provide a lot of encouragement during difficult times, especially here at the end of the season. And celebrate progress. Even if that's little progress, even if that's, I got out of bed and I got to the pool today. Celebrate that progress. Celebrate that I didn't cave at the end of the workout. I kept pushing to the end. Because consistency, that's my final point here, consistency really is important. And that consistency can be overarching, whether that's over the week, over months, over years. It's the consistency that really matters. It's really key. Stay committed to your training and strategies, and to the end, dedication pays. In conclusion, with these end of season strategies, you'll be well equipped to finish the race season strong. And I want you to do that. Finish strong, fast, and proud of all of your accomplishments. Remember, it's the culmination of your training, preparation, and mindset that will define your success. And best of luck to you at the end of the season.